Hello everyone. Today's topic is the motor development. Motor development. Motor development means the development of control over bodily movement through the coordinated activity of the nerve centers, the nerves and the muscles. This control comes from the development of reflexes and mass activity present at birth. Now the principles. From longitudinal studies of the babies and young children, five general principles of the motor development have emerged. Motor development depends on the neural and muscular development. Learning skills cannot occur until the child is maturationally ready. Motor development follows a predictable pattern. It is possible to establish norms for motor development, and there are individual differences in rate of motor development. Now, the stages of the motor development in infancy, that is in between 0 to 2 years. So first we are going to take birth to 3 months. During the neonatal period, that is first month, the motor behavior is primarily random and automatic in the nature. However, despite immaturity, the neonate is capable of adaptive motor capacities. The full-term neonate postures inflection, which is a reflection of the fetal position during the last trimester of pregnancy. At this time, the extensor muscle tone is insufficient for the head and the trunk control. Thus, when the neonate is in the supine, the head is turned to one side, the arms are flexed alongside the head. The hands are fisted and the legs are maintained in the flexion. In prawn, the head is lifted only momentarily to turn to one side. The arms are curled under the chest and the legs posture reflects the dominating flexion influences as the trunk is rounded and the head drops forward. The 3-month-old infant has adjusted to the extrauterine environment and about for the longer period of the time the infant smiles and turns to visual and auditory stimuli. Arms and legs movements are self perpetuated and promote the body schema. By 3 months, the integration of the primitive reflexes contributes to improved postural control and midline orientation. In prawn, shoulder and upper trunk stability enable the infant to hold head up while being actively propped on either forearms or partly extended arms. So now 4 to 6 months. During the second stage of the motor development, the sitting and the independent mobility emerge along with voluntarily reach and the grasp. The infant readily pushes up on forearms in prawn and by 6 months on fully extended arms. Also in the prawn, first the legs and then both the arms and legs are actively extended off the floor. In supine, the infant actively kicks, brings hands to feet and feet to mouth. Now, sitting. The middle of the first year is mutable for the onset of the sitting. The play in prone and supine also promotes the development of head and trunk control, which is necessary for sitting. The infant initially sits with a rounded trunk while propped forwards. Development of trunk extension and protective arm extension coincides with independent sittings. While the 6-month infant sits alone, This posture cannot be assumed independently and is not completely functional because the arms are required to help the maintain balance. Rolling and crawling. Rolling and crawling on the stomach are the infant's first methods of independent mobility. While actively playing in the prone, the infant log rolls to supine accidentally. Log rolling is replaced by segmental rolling as body righting develops. The 6 month old infant frequently rolls from prone to supine to free the hands in order to manipulate the toys. In prone, as weight shifting improves, the infant pivots in a circle and crawls forward on the stomach. Supported in a standing posture, the weight is held by the infant's legs, and by 6 months, the infant delights in bouncing. Voluntarily reach and grasp. Incorporation of the hand into the body schema, midline orientation, and improved postural stability are all prerequisites for voluntary reach and the grasp. In supine, volitional reaching emerges at about 4 months. By 6 months, a direct unilateral reach with one arm is observed. The 3 to 4 months old infant grasps only when the object contracts the palm with the fingers moving as a unit and squeezing the object into palms. Grasp includes no thumb involvement and from the outer position of the hand and arm, referred to as the ulnar side. At 4 to 5 months, a mass palmar grasp is displayed. The fingers press the object against the palm and thumb opposes the first two fingers to grasp a inch cube. 7 to 12 months. The second half of the first year is characterized by the rapid changes in a locomotor ability and hand use. During the first half of this period, sitting balances improves, the development of protective extension and equilibrium reactions allow the infant to rotate the head and the trunk, to cross the midline of the body, and to use the hands for manipulation. The infant first leans to move out of the sitting posture at about 7 to 8 months, and 8 to 9 months uses writing reactions to pivot from either prone or quadruped into sitting. Now, creeping and the walking. Creeping on hands and knees is a continuation of the prone progression of the locomotor ability. When placed in the supine, the infant now prefers to roll to prone. While playing in the prone, weight is shifted backwards and the infant pushes onto hands and the knees. The transitional phase of the rocking in hands and the knees prepares the arms and legs for creeping, which begins at about 8 months. Some infants also plantigrade walk, that is on hands and the feet, which is a variation of the creeping. By 12 months, creeping is generalized and climbing begins. After the infant assumes standing, the progression to walking ac- accelerates. Creeping, however, remains the most effective method of the locomotion. The infant creeps throughout his or her environment and pulls to stand and various low surfaces. Play in standing is performed initially by leaning against supporting surfaces with the two hand support. Standing the progresses to an upright posture with one hand free to manipulate objects. Mobility begins as weight is shifted onto one leg while the other leg is lifted off the ground. This prepares the leg for cruising. At about 12 months, the infant is taking independent steps, grasp and release. The rapid changes in the grasp also occur between 7 to 12 months. The radial palmar grasp of the 6-month-old infant progresses to a radial digital grasp in which the thumb opposes the index and the middle fingertips. At about 9 months, the wrist extends while grasping a small object like a cube, and the mature grasp pattern is established. The, the racking grasp of the 6-month-old infant is gradually replaced by a scissors grasp in which the thumb presses against the side of the index finger. The next stage is the emergence of an inferior pincer grasp emerges. Inferior pincer grasp emerges. Voluntarily release develops toward the end of the first year. At first, unassisted release is awkward and characterized by exaggerated extension of all fingers. By 10 months, a clumsy release of a cube into a container is demonstrated, and by 12 months, this action becomes smoother and more controlled. So, now the summary is at the end of the first year, the vision, reach, grasp, and release are all coordinated. 1 to 2 year. During the second year of the life, walking is the primarily method of the mobility, release of object is refined, and perpetual motor experiences are expanded in play. Standing, walking, and running. Through the combination of the maturation and practice, a number of changes in standing and the walking occur during the second year. One of the many challenges One of the many challenges in the walking is assuming the position and maintaining the balance. After beginning to walk, the infant uses writing reactions to assume a standing posture. This involves pivoting from sitting, shifting weight onto the hands and feet, and then pushing up to the standing. As balance improves, the infant is able to squat down from standing to pick up a toy. Walking is at first only in the forward direction. The infant next makes turns in the wide circles by 15-meter, takes a few days sideways and the backwards. By 18 months, the infants can take step backward while pulling a toy. After the onset of the walking, the infant is called a toddler. By 2 years of the age, the infant demonstrates mature walking by taking longer strides, controlling heels, toe patterns, and displaying coordinated trunk and pelvic rotation with the arms positioned loosely at the sides. Running and stairs climbing are the basic motor pattern that emerge during the second year. Compared with walking, they require the greater unilateral weight shift and balance. A fast walk is the transition pattern between walking and running. To run, the infant must maintain a brief period of the free flight and fact of the ground. By 18 months, first with hands held and the holding onto a rolling, the infant climbs steps by placing both feet on the same step. Grasp, release, and tool use. The basic grasp and the release patterns are established by 15 months. Controlled graded release emerges between 12 and 15 months. As eye-hand coordination improves, the infant successfully plays with packed boards and pop beads between 12 to 18 months. The infant can discriminate a circle, square, and triangle in the succession. Tool use, which distinguishes human manipulations from most other species during the second year. A 12-month-old infant will make a sweeping stroke with a crayon across the paper. The crayon is grasped with a fisted hand and flexed wrist, and the arm and hand move as a unit. So the summary is the transition from infancy to childhood is marked by increased independent independence characterized by independent mobility, some eye-hand coordination and accuracy. We shall discuss the age between the two, the development and between the 2 to 6 years in our next video. So be in touch with us. Thank you very much for watching a video.